Scoops Cat Litter presents The March to YouTube Domination! Dateline Hollywood. A plucky red-haired beauty hatches her plan to conquer the internet by gaining 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. But she can't do it alone. Only you can help her in her quest to achieve YouTube greatness by liking, subscribing, and most importantly, sharing her videos. Remember, it's up to you to fight the evils of YouTube suppression and the evil corporations who want to keep you down by clicking the like button as we march our way to YouTube domination!
So, you're upset that the director told you what to say on a movie? Hello everyone, I am Mecha Random 42, the one, the only, the original, your favorite YouTube consumer advocate, Harpy. We're poking a hole in Hollywood and exposing it for what it is. It is a childish high school playground of bratty entitled teenagers and grown adult man babies and women babies and vindictive, spineless, bitter. It's nasty. It's nasty. Hollywood is not the real world. Hollywood is like high school and politics all rolled up into one. And I'm seeing a lot of this play out in a lot of what they're doing during the quote-unquote marketing phase of this Justice League movie. That's what we're still in, the Snyder Cut anyway. We're still in kind of the big marketing phase where it's still big buzz and big news. And there's no such thing as bad publicity, right? So no matter what anybody says, it's still going to benefit the studios. It's still going to get people to notice and talk about. It's still going to get the Twitter impressions. It's still going to get everything benefiting these studios and the companies and the people who make these films. And no matter what, who's benefiting right now? Well, the Zack Snyder camp, I think, is a little bit more when you see these sort of articles and these sort of stories. And we got a couple of them. We have a couple of them right now. The first one, we're going to go ladies first because she's queued up first in my magic here. This is a Bounding Into Comics article, but they're talking about a Grace Randolph rumor, so take that with all of the salt lick, the whole salt lick like we always do. Report, Joss Whedon threatened Gal Gadot's career on set of Justice League. A new report claims that director Joss Whedon threatened Wonder Woman actress Gal Gadot's career on the set. This new report comes from The Hollywood Reporter and writer Kim Masters. It also comes after Gadot already confirmed she had her own experience with Joss Whedon. Well, I've read through this a little, and it does seem like they're connecting a couple of things. Like, Gal Gadot says one thing, and then we have another report that could be completely unrelated, but as humans, we like to connect dots. We like to solve puzzles. We like to get to the bottom of mysteries. We like gossip and drama, and it's fun to talk about. No matter what. Gal Gadot revealed she had her own experience with Justice League director Joss Whedon. Back in December, Gadot spoke with the Los Angeles Times regarding Ray Fisher's accusations against Whedon while on set of Justice League. Gadot stated, "I'm happy for Ray to go out and speak his truth." She continued, "I wasn't there with the guys when they shot Joss Whedon. I had my own experience with him, which wasn't the best one, but I took care of it there, and when it happened, I took it to the higher-ups, and they took care of it, but I'm happy for Ray to go and say his truth." All right, that sounds like a lot of therapy speak, too, you know. She's like saying, I'm happy he's speaking his truth, just as a disclaimer. Just, what if it's not true? What if it's something that he's reacting in a way that's confusing about? And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with this. I don't know what I'm supposed to be offended by in his well, we're getting into that in a second. Gal Gadot did not elaborate on what the experience was, but scooper and YouTuber Grace Randolph speculated that it had to do with the Flash laying directly on top of Wonder Woman. So this is just speculation from Grace Randolph. I doubt we'll ever get specifics from Ray Fisher on Joss Whedon, which, yeah, we actually do have some specifics, and we're going to sum them up. We're going to get into that in a second here, so don't you go anywhere. So she's wrong there. Grace Randolph, you're actually wrong there. We do have some specifics. But here's the one I was first to report. Gal Gadot didn't want to film the scene, so Whedon did it all with a stunt double. That's why you can't see her face. Photographer Jason LeBoy also claimed that Whedon locked either Gadot or her stunt double in a room and threatened her career. He wrote on Twitter, "Don't forget to add that he locked her in a room and threatened her career if she didn't do the scene. That is very important and should not be omitted." Well, again, he's somebody, listening outside the door? We don't even know if it's Gadot or her stunt double. And to be perfectly honest, if there's a scene in the movie that you're supposed to be shooting, aren't you just supposed to shut up and say it? That's your line. You're supposed to shut up and say it. And if it's something where you can't physically say it, like you keep flubbing and flubbing, then you ask, "Hey, can we change this? It doesn't want to come out of my mouth." That's the professional, grown-up adult thing to do. You sit down, you shut up, you do your scene as you're directed, you don't delay your production, and I hate having to side with the studios on this, but it's a business. It's a big business, and when you have one actor or director or one crew member delaying production, that's costing you hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. It adds up. It really adds up, especially if you are the lowest tier actor, probably the lowest paid cast member on set, the least important one. By least important, I mean based on the Underoos test. And I always like to do the Underoos test with my superheroes. The Underoos test are, were they on Underoos in the 1980s? And would my mother know who they are? She knows who Batman is. She knows who Wonder Woman is. She knows who Spider-Man is over in Marvel. That's probably the only Marvel one she knows, to be perfectly honest. She knows Batman, Superman. She knows the big ones. She probably doesn't know who the Flash is. She probably doesn't know who Aquaman is. She certainly doesn't know who Cyborg is. But some people do know who Cyborg is, and if you're a huge fan of the Teen Titans show, if you're a fan of the character, you know he has a certain catchphrase called Booyah. It just says Booyah. He says Booyah. And that is really what it boils down to, isn't it? Isn't it? He didn't want to be directed. He didn't want to receive direction. He didn't want to say a line. He didn't want to bend and say the line he was hired to say for an established character. And this is a really, really long read. If you guys do want to read it, I'll link that somewhere. It's from The Hollywood Reporter. Ray Fisher opens up about Justice League, Joss Whedon, and Warner's "I don't believe some of these people are fit for leadership." So they brought in a former federal judge to go and interrogate and investigate and question 80 witnesses, and they found no credible reports or claims of racial animus or racial insensitivity. See, that's the thing. That's the thing. We're supposed to be under the impression that it's because of racism or because of whatever. For me, it never really seemed like that every single time. It just seemed like somebody seemed a little bit more, I don't know. They seem to think that they were the bigger star than they actually were. Because when you read through this, it seems that Zack Snyder and Geoff Johns, I hope I'm saying the right names, who initially, before filming, they mapped out this character. They discussed, hey, it's a huge deal. This is the first black superhero. We want the input. We're just a couple of white dudes. We want some input and creativity. And they're telling him, hey, this is the heart and soul of the picture. Here's the heart and soul of the film. And from my understanding, it seems like his part was really, really beefed up in the Snyder Cut. His arc made a lot more sense. But still, not the main character of the movie. Cyborg was like, kind of, he's the fifth banana, he's the second banana's third banana down. He's not Batman, he's not Superman, he's not Wonder Woman, he's not Aquaman, he's not the Flash. He's Cyborg, he's not the main character in the movie. This is the sequel right after the whole Batman versus Superman. This is the death of Superman coming in, playing this huge part. And yeah, you don't see Superman until a couple hours in. But you see Batman and Wonder Woman, and it's kind of their big, these are our established heroes, and then you got like the sidekicks and the B team sort of level. And I know I don't want to reduce them to just the sidekick, but that was really the impression that I got with this article, is that they were really, really trying to really make him feel like his character was going to be the center and the focus. And then they go and explain in this article how stuff happens. Zack Snyder's no longer in the film. Now we're bringing in, no longer directing, I should say, not in. Now we're bringing in Joss Whedon. Now we're bringing in Joss Whedon, who is already taking something that they've already thrown a lot of money at, that the studio execs, according to this article, were not really super happy with the previous Snyder stuff with the box office receipts. Because let's face it, the box office is where we really want to focus. And Joss Whedon kind of came in and was like, you know what? You're going to stand there and you're going to say your line and you're going to like it. And you're going to do as you're told. And, you know, I'm the director. My job is literally to tell you what to do. Ray Fisher didn't like that. They had some sort of a personality clash. It was no longer that he was going to be this huge main character of the film. We had a lot of different versions and different directions. And that's what happens, though. That's really what happens. When you get hired for a job and they change out managers, you always end up no longer doing the job you were initially hired for. The new manager comes in. They bring in their own clique of people. They do everything their way, and if you don't like it, you're going to go. I don't know how it is going to be so much in Hollywood, but that really seems like that's the case, especially when you're doing huge business. There's even mention in here of Joss Whedon saying, hey, well, what if one of the Warner execs' kids has a favorite character of Cyborg, and they're like, we want him to say booyah. Well, the Warner execs are going to get what they want, and I hate that I have to side with the Warner execs on this, because they did write that hit piece and call out all the fans as being toxic and trying to paint that the whole entire Snyder fandom is just toxic. It's not the case. There are some bad eggs out there. I've certainly dealt with a few of them, and I certainly am not even going to pretend to be like in the camp of yes, release this. I don't care. I don't really care. I don't feel like it helped or made the movie any better than, you know, the dark, depressing, gloomy CGI shit show that it already was. And that's pretty much what I got in the 2 hours I watched of it. 3. I made it 3 hours in, but that last hour I was asleep, so I only count 2. Oh, they're just dropping news left, right, and center today. Anti-Joss Whedon stuff. This one came in from New York Post. This kind of is how I sort of see him. This whole, you're going to sit down, you're going to shut up, you're going to do as you're told, I'm the director, I'm your boss. Is that really the quote-unquote most positive workplace? I mean, you do catch more flies with honey. That's absolutely true. But at the same time, Stanley Kubrick made what's her name on the set of The Shining? I can see her face, and I can't remember her name. Shelley Duvall. An absolute nervous wreck. He made her run up and down the stairs hundreds of times backwards when she's getting terrorized by Jack Nicholson's character. He made her do countless takes of these things over and over and over again, to the point where she was so frazzled. But that was kind of the point of the movie, is that her character was frazzled. So, I mean, is this the best way to handle these actors? I don't know, but I'd probably be similar, because at the end of the day, these actors are basically set pieces that say lines, that are hired to do a job. They're basically the costume. They're a talking version of the costume or a prop in a lot of cases. And that's how Alfred Hitchcock handled a lot of this. I hate having to defend this, because you know me, I'm not a big fan of a lot of this Hollywood stuff anyway, like a lot of this behind the scenes stuff, but I kind of do like to chew on some gossip. So was this the incident that Gal Gadot was talking about? An on-set witness claimed to The Hollywood Reporter that after one particularly vicious dispute, Joshua was bragging that he's had it out with Gal. He told her that he's a writer and she's going to shut up and say the lines, and he can make her look incredibly stupid in the movie, they alleged. So is this the instance that she was talking about? Is it the one that Grace Randolph was speculating? Who knows? Who knows? But yeah, it just comes off as Joss Whedon is one of those people who wants to get the thing done quickly without a lot of actors saying, oh, wait a minute, what about this? Wait a minute, what about that? He's just a different style director. Is that the right way to do it? I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but hey. Point being, movie put me to sleep. Anyway, but no, he's got a point. Joss Whedon comes in, he wants to do what the people who paid him a lot of money to come in and fix this broken mess did, and Ray Fisher thinks that's somehow a direct connection to his outward appearance. That's just what it feels like he's trying to convey here. To me, it comes off as they didn't want to keep delaying production. He didn't want to take direction from the director, from the guy whose literal job it is to tell him what to say and when to say it. And people don't like that Joss Whedon might be a little cold, a little cruel, a little crude, a little crass, a little curt. You know, all the C words. He might be all the C words. But is that really against the law to be kind of a jerk, to be kind of a dick, to be an asshole? I don't know. I certainly am a jerk. I certainly say a lot of stuff that annoys and upsets the snowflakes. And they go in to the Gal Gadot stuff. Here's what's weird about this article, though. They kind of paint Ray Fisher out to be a complete fool. They say his racism allegations are completely unfounded from a federal judge with 80 witnesses. They paint him to be protecting people who don't need protected. He states that he didn't want to name names by losing people jobs, but then they go off to say, well, Gal Gadot was going to be one of the people and her job's safe, and so is Jason Momoa. His job's certainly not going anywhere. And if you really, really want to go through and read the article, it's a very long read, but I want to go down and jump down to this last line. This is their headline. I don't believe some of these people are fit for positions of leadership, says Fisher, who explains he's not looking for anyone to be fired. I don't want them excommunicated from Hollywood, but I don't think they should be in charge of the hiring or firing of other people. Fisher knows he's not going to win that battle, but he feels a point has been made. If I can't get accountability, he says, at least I can make people aware of who they're dealing with. To me, it just feels like that since Warner was already in the direction of the JJ camp, wanting to bring in and protect that, and go with that version of Superman, who's probably going to be a black Superman, so that JJ can get market. It's not going to be for diversity, it's not going to be for racism or any of that stuff. It's going to be so JJ Abrams can make a lot of changes to an existing character, make them make sense, or not even an existing character. They might just make him a completely different sort of Superman. Make changes to the costumes, make it so that JJ gets the license rights for whatever new merch they're going to have. And that's kind of his MO. He did it with Star Wars. He did it with Star Trek. That's his thing. That's his bag. The fact that Warner is kind of more in his camp just means, I guess, he listens to the higher-ups and the CEOs a little bit more. And I don't know if this is supposed to be a hit piece against Joss Whedon planned by the Snyder camp, or if this is just something where Warner comes in and says, you know what? This looks like a bunch of nonsense, and it's going to make Ray Fisher look foolish and look like an entitled diva to some people who actually go through and read this article. Maybe we'll exploit that and paint that picture that the Snyder camp are a bunch of quote-unquote toxic yada yada, who cares, right? Whatever they want to call you. This whole thing just leaves a bad taste in my mouth. The whole Snyder verse, the whole everything attached to this. And you know what? If you're gonna come into a movie where you're paid what, $300,000? I think he got paid $300,000 to be in this movie. This guy has a background in theater. This guy has a background in stage. And maybe he's just from the universe where people interact with people a little bit differently. But in the universe I come from, when a director says something, you show up and you say your lines and you don't act like a diva unless you're maybe Tom Cruise. And even then, Tom Cruise gets pissy with people who, hold up production because he understands that that everybody's job is riding on it. Your craft service guy, your grips, your electricians, your hair and makeup people, your lighting people, all of these people, their jobs rely on how much money these studios pull in. And when you're holding up to production and delaying production with whatever beef and complaint you have, even if you're Wonder Woman, even if you're like, she looks like she just went to the studio heads and they took care of it real quick and said, well, I'm not doing the scene. What can you do to compromise? If that even is the thing that she was complaining about, we can't even prove that was the thing she's complaining about. And she's clearly more professional than to really sink ships with loose lips. I don't know. Anyway, tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. I am Mecha Random 42, and I will see you guys on the next video, live stream, or wherever. Bye. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye!
We live in a society, Batman,